This is the BBC. The following program is based on actual events. It is important to remember, however, that you can't rewrite history, not one line, except perhaps when you embark on an adventure in space and time.
Hello and welcome back to Exterminate, a Doctor Who podcast, episode 14, with your host, Stuart Cannon, as usual. And today we'll be looking at the Doctor Who documentary thing. You could call it an adventure in space and time. I don't know what quite to call it, because it's a documentary, but it's a documentary played by actors, and the actors are playing an actor, and then they're also playing what the actor does and their role. So basically, An Adventure in Space and Time it's sort of what happened behind the scenes between the period in the William Hartnell era, and that was to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who in 2013. This story was written by Mark Gatiss, and it starred David Bradley as the first Doctor / William Hartnell. And so basically, this was really fun to watch, and it was 79 minutes, so an hour and 19. And it was just so exciting. It was so inviting, if that makes sense. You really wanted to watch it. I watched it the entirety of last night. I watched it all, and I was very tired afterwards. But don't worry about that. I wasn't tired for that long. But it was really exciting, and I very much enjoyed it. So let's talk about what happened and how the story went out. So basically, it started off with William Hartnell in 1963. Behind the scenes, he goes to the console, he's upset, and then he sort of shuts his eyes like that. Then he looks up, then he starts reminiscing what happened behind the scenes. And then there's sort of some scenes, but then there's like this thing called like the Eurometer or something, and it scrolls back. So it's 1966, which is the year that the first Doctor left. So basically it goes 1966, 65, and then it gets stuck on 65, and it goes down to 64, and then it switches back down to 63. And then from there, I think it was like a couple of scenes, and then that was the introduction. And then basically I think it's Verity Lambert. I forgot the actor's name that did Verity Lambert, but Sashi Dhawan, who plays the Master, played Boris Hossein. And if you don't know who Boris Hossein is, I think he was the director for season 1 of Doctor Who. I think he might have left. I don't quite know when he left, but he was the first Indian director for the BBC, and Verity Lambert was the first female producer for the BBC. And I think Sydney Newman, who was the head of drama, was the first Canadian head of drama. So that's interesting. So they were quite interesting bunch, you'd say, at the time, because not a lot of them were known. And also Boris Hossein, as I don't know if I said this, but Sashi Dhawan plays the Master in Spyfall and all that. So basically, 13th Doctor era Master is in it, acting is Boris Hossein. And we get some beautiful scenes between the actor who plays Verity Lambert and David Bradley, who plays William Hartnell / the first Doctor. And there's some amazing scenes about William Hartnell being upset that she's leaving after the Web Planet. And, you know, it's really heartwarming, all these scenes. And there's a scene where David Bradley has to play William Hartnell breaking down because he didn't want to leave as the first Doctor. And they decided that it's time for him to move on. I think this is when, just before Ben and Polly arrived, and then he did the Smugglers, and then he did the 10th Planet. And obviously William Hartnell was getting unwell at the time, and he wasn't able to carry on much longer, and he had to take constant holiday breaks and stuff. So that's why the whole of Celestial Toymaker doesn't have him in. And also half the 10th Planet doesn't really have him either, because he was basically just worn out and tired and exhausted. And also there was something wrong with his arteries. His arteries was hardening, which means he couldn't carry on for longer. And this was when they were filming the Web Planet that they found that out. And also he kept like fluffing up his lines and messing up his lines, and then soon he forgot Vicky's name in Justin's name, and it just got worse. But he is David Bradley really showed the emotion of the first Doctor, the first Doctor's actor, William Hartnell. And it was just so amazing to see. And you can really tell that from a grumpy old man came this man that was upset by leaving this role. And it showed a big roller coaster of emotion. And obviously he got grumpy as the time gone on because all of his original cast left. When Ian and Barbara left, their actors, I think that might have been when he went a bit downhill, because that's when he wouldn't have had anyone left, and also by then the producer and the director both left by the chase. So I think that talks a lot in detail about that. And I love the scenes when they're filming the Dalek invasion of Earth. I think that's the Dalek invasion of Earth. I think that's what it's called. I don't know, but it's the episode where Susan leaves, and he's sitting next to by Caroline Ford, with the actor who plays Caroline Ford in this, and they're talking about how she's made up her decision to go, and that, you know, it's also a really heartwarming scene, and the acting really comes through in that scene, and it's just amazing to see. It's a beautiful scene, and the cinematography in this entire movie, it's also really great. I think it's just so good, and also Verity Lambert's attitude. She never gives up, and I think that's what intrigued me, is that she never gave up throughout the whole time. Her whole screen time, she didn't give up. She didn't stand for anything, and she even got angry at Sidney Newman at one point, which was amazing to see, because obviously there's this young person is carrying a whole TV show on her own with the director. So I think that it was so nice to see Verity Lambert's actor showing that Verity Lambert was so, how do I put it? She was so determined and was determined to get Doctor Who into a big show, this big kids show for Sci-Fi, which I think is so amazing. That one lady that can run Doctor Who for only about 12 or more stories had such a big impact on that era, and it's just amazing. So I think that was amazing to see, in the character development also as well. And also when you got to see all these actors leaving, it was really sad as well. So we're going through the actors. So basically, pictures with Vicky, Barbara and Ian, and it went to pictures with Stephen and Dodo, and then it went to pictures with Ben and Polly, and the companions kept changing constantly, and I think that's what William Hartnell also struggled with. I think he wanted more of a stability, because it kept chopping and changing, and they couldn't make their minds up if they wanted to complete these companions or not. Also because they didn't really keep Dodo for long either, which also I think I think he just wanted someone. I think he just wanted just a stability. I think that's a lot what the story's about. And I think the whole plot is excellent, and all the scenes, and you know, William Hartnell being sick and coughing really badly. I think those small scenes really shows how determined he was, because he was coughing because he was unwell and tired, but he kept going and he kept carrying on to the point where he could barely do it, and that he said a man half my age would die from doing this schedule. So I think it's just really important to understand that, and you know what a big impact William Hartnell made on Doctor Who. And I think that is so strong, that element of the story is so strong, and it's definitely being shown, and it's amazing writing from Mark Gatiss. And I'm not a big fan of Mark Gatiss' Doctor Who stories, but this was just so well written by him, and I think that he did such a good job really showing what happened behind the scenes in 1963. And also you have the Patrick Troughton actors, Patrick Troughton and William Hartnell, together in the TARDIS when they were having a little regeneration scene. And basically I think William Hartnell really liked Patrick Troughton, and when they had the regeneration, and I think it was perfect, and that he said there's only one man that can take over this role, and then he was like, that's you. And Patrick Troughton's like, couldn't find him. couldn't find them, and then it was just amazing. I think that this whole thing was amazing, and it was so strong. I said that multiple times. It's so strong, and the movie was so determined, and it executed so perfectly, and I didn't get bored anytime. It was amazing. So that's that, and I hope you enjoyed watching. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing next time for episode 15. I might do a little special thing because episode 15, big achievement, hooray. But thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.